Hello again. My name is Nathan Klug, managing partner of Praxis ACG. And if you're watching this video, that means you've already seen the short, under 2-minute video talking about the BDA role, which again stands for Business Development Advisor. And you're watching this video to learn a little bit more about what that looks like. This is still going to be a high level overview. We're going to keep this very short. But this is going to give you a little bit more information so that you can make an informed decision if this role is a good fit for you. So by the time that this is done, you should be able to answer that question. What is the Praxis ACG BDA role all about? So what we're going to start off doing is talking about our mission and vision statement. We're going to go through the WIFM, what we talked a little bit with a few more points. Again, that's the what's in it for me. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what the wholesale space is about. I don't want to talk about it there. Hello again. My name is Nathan Klug, managing partner of Praxis Agencies. Hello again. My name is Nathan Klug, managing partner of Praxis ACG. And if you're watching this video, it means you've already seen the short 2-minute video about the basic concept of what the BDA role is all about, which again stands for Business Development Advisor. And you're watching this video to learn a little bit more details. This is going to be a little bit longer than the other one, probably around. Hello again. My name is Nathan Klug, managing partner of Praxis Agency Consulting Group. And if you're watching this video, that means you've already seen the short video talking a little bit about the Business Development Advisor role. And you're watching this to learn a little bit more about what that looks like and more about the wholesale side of the industry as well. So we're going to jump into this. This is not going to be a long video. This is still going to be a 10,000 foot overview, but it is going to help you answer the question of what is the Praxis ACG Business Development Advisor role all about. So with that said, I'm going to talk about our mission first, which is to be the largest distribution network in the insurance wholesale marketplace by creating a dynamic, flexible, and accessible career path to the wholesale industry. The Praxis BDA role solves the biggest problems facing current insurance professionals who would like to move into wholesale distribution and makes this side of the industry easy and simple to operate. So to review and add a couple more points of what we talked about last time with the WIFM, what's in it for me, the first and foremost that is important to understand is the income potential of this side of the industry. The wholesale side of the industry makes a lot of money, which is why there's holding companies and things like that that get involved in it. Because we have the highest compensation plan around in the wholesale marketplace for a business development advisor, this makes this an extremely lucrative position for you. Because the reality being, if the income wasn't there, you wouldn't even be having this conversation. We'd be done. So that's important to mention and to reiterate. Number 2 on here is flexibility. So this is a full or part-time position that can be, start part-time and transition into full-time. Also with the flexibility, this can be done anywhere, as mentioned before. Number 3 is that this is sustainable. So the income that you make is sustainable, and the wholesale industry of itself is not disappearing overnight. It's going to be here for a long time and is still core to the independent channel. Number 4 is ownership. And this is extremely important to understand because traditionally in this type of role, you are not getting ownership. It is usually a W-2 position. You're an employee and you can get fired. And when you leave, you're gone for good. And you don't get those renewals. You don't own that, have any ownership. So this is important from day one. We believe in giving that type of ownership. And number 5 is development. So we believe that personal and professional development is extremely important within this industry in general. And our environment and how we proceed reflects that. So that's why this is important for you. Look at those 5 points. We're going to talk a little bit more about them as we go along, but we're going to shift gears and talk about what the next time is all about. So we're going to talk a little bit about who Praxis ACG is. We're going to then go into the insurance wholesale industry at a glance. Then we're going to talk about the BDA opportunity and overview. And then we're going to talk about next steps, which is very simple. So just to talk about that really quick, because you may see the link already. If this is something that you want to proceed with, and then is to get on the career overview, and you'd register for that right below. So that's really the next step. But let's talk a little bit more about us and the wholesale industry and the BDA opportunity. So what we do, Praxis Agency Consulting Group, we are a niche producer group that focuses on providing a simple and efficient path into the wholesale industry of insurance. That is what our passion is all about. We truly believe that the wholesale industry needs more good people to support other agents. So between our combined experience, just between 3 of the main partners, we have just under 100 years of experience, and we've taken that experience and added it to the wholesale space, which has allowed us to create a massive amount of distribution to be able to helping more agents understand what the heck this industry is about and how they can grow their practice. So that's really a little bit about us and who we are, and that's what our focus. Now let's move on to talking about what is an IMO and what are marketers. So IMOs, they stand for Insurance Marketing Organizations. You're also going to hear the language of FMOs, which are field marketing organizations, or possibly NMOs, which are national marketing organizations. Very simply, all of their focus is to offer insurance products and services to independent insurance agents or agencies. So put it another way, IMOs support other independent agents and agencies. Unfortunately, and we'll dive into this a little bit more, but the language is not very clear because there's a lot of IMOs that call themselves IMOs that sometimes act like general agencies, or there's general agencies that act more like an IMO. So sometimes this can be extremely confusing because different places are operating as different organizations, basically. But IMOs, insurance marketing organizations, they are there to support independent insurance agents and agencies. Marketers, on the other hand, are the crux. They're part of IMOs, and they offer things like annuities, life insurance, other insurance products to financial planners and advisors and agencies. And in this role, they identify and cultivate leads obtained from referrals, advertising, and canvassing, and develop relationships with financial planners and insurance agents to earn their trust in different financial products. So once that marketer has established relationships, they may then act as an advisor on the selection of financial insurance products and strategically work with their sales reps to maximize revenues. So marketer is the same, is a traditional term, or wholesaler a lot of time, for what we're calling the BDA, the business development advisor. But that's the gist of it. So what is wholesale insurance distribution, though? So we have these IMOs and they're supporting independent agents. But to really understand what that looks like, let's dive into this a little bit more. So marketing organizations' clients are insurance agents and financial professionals. We know that the end user, of course, is the consumer, but a IMO's clients are insurance agents and financial professionals. So they're referred to as FMOs, IMOs, NMOs, wholesalers, and all of these organizations operate under the same premise, which is to offer support to independent agents nationwide. So I think there's an important distinction to make. And if you've been in the industry for any period of time, I am not here to insult your intelligence. So we've probably all heard the term independent agents and captive agents. I think it's important to make that distinction of what that looks like, because I think those are the two major categories within the insurance distribution space. So first off, we have captive agents, which are like the State Farms, the Allstates, the Northwest Mutuals. And this is an important distinction, also going to include the network marketing companies like the Primericas and the World Financial Groups, or PHPs or QS2s or hegemon groups. There's a whole bunch of them out there. The idea being, if an agent gets paid a 1099 from the agency and not directly from the carrier, they are probably a captive agent. It's not always true, but captive agent in this concept means that they have to use the products or carriers that that agency has access to, and they can't go outside of that, or if they do, they need approval or things like that. That is a captive agent. Whereas an independent agent is responsible for setting up their own business and has complete autonomy over which carriers they use, which products. If they want to bring in a new carrier, they don't have to ask someone to do that. So commissions are usually paid directly from the carrier based on production levels or negotiated levels. And the best part for the agent is that he can write products for several different companies and doesn't have to take a reduced commission for receiving support from the marketing organization. It's important to mention that concept idea because in the IMO space, in the distribution model, independent agents are how IMOs are making money. They're not making their money from captive agents as much. They're making their money from the independent agents. A lot of times, sometimes those captive agents go independent, but it's important to mention that concept and that differentiation. So where does the BDA fit in all that? Again, BDA, traditionally they're called marketers or wholesalers, but I'm going to start it off at the very bottom. A BDA, very simply, is the advisor to the advisor. So it is the advisor to the agent. They're the ones that are the front line. They're the connection to the agent. They're the gateway. They're the ones that are, passing off information and understanding. So going through these points is responsible to inform the agent of updates, new products, and new sales ideas. So if a carrier comes out with a new product, a BDA should probably know about that, especially when they have access to. So that they can tell the agents, well, this just came out, this is how this product fits, and these are the type of clients that would be a good fit for that specific product. Number 2 on here is responsible for answering the agent's questions. So a lot of times agents run into different materials or advertisements that interest them, and they may call their BDA to ask them, well, hey, what's this all about? Like, explain more. Have you heard anything about this? So that's important. Number 3 that's on here is agents will also call for recommendations for products. So annuities is probably the largest example of this, but annuities change all the time. BDA's job is to understand a lot of those changes, or to know the right people that know those changes. And so when an agent has a case, say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, this is the parameters, then the BDA is going and finding out, well, what's the best product that fits within for that client. And number 4 is it's your responsibility to learn about resources offered in the industry by Praxis ACG or the affiliate marketing offices that work with us, and recommend proper support. And again, just as a recap, it's the basic premise is that a BDA is the advisor to the advisor. So that's where the BDA fits, and that's why this role is so important in the industry. And that's why it's not going away. So let's talk a little bit about the good statistics, then we're going to talk about the bad. But as a few points, number 1, this is a niche marketplace. There's quite honestly probably less, this is probably high, but less than 1,000 marketers in this position. And it's a very small pool of people. So there's lots of space for growth. There's over 1.5 million licensed agents. These 1,000 marketers can't by any means keep up with all of that. and be that gateway. So that's important to understand. IMOs and BDAs are the go-to in the independent industry. So they are still at the forefront of knowledge and product distribution, which is why understanding and having knowledge and being able to gain knowledge about what's happening is so important. So like when 7702 came out, or AG 49, or when the DOL was going through like 6-7 years ago. Those are all things that sometimes transform the way that certain agents do business. And a lot of independent agents and agencies get that information from BDAs and IMOs. In the independent space, IMOs are juggernauts of production. So there's one of the top shops in the annuity space, does over 6 billion with a B in annuities. That is a massive amount of production. There's lots of space for that, and there's plenty of other organizations that are doing around that billion of annuities, or hundreds of millions of life insurance production. So it's definitely out there. On the good side, this is also going to apply to the bad side, is non-transparency. Although this may seem as a negative at first, agents are craving transparency, and the IMOs with the highest reputations are the ones that provide the most transparency. So I think that's important to mention, and that's something that we can bring to that side of the industry, is that type of transparency. And last but not least is high touch. The reason that this is important is because technology is constantly changing, and it's transforming the way that we operate in this industry. But at its core, this industry is still built off of relationships. So that applies to the BDA role as well. All right, now to move on to the bad. Number one is reputation. So marketing consultants can have a bad rep with advisors. I just think of over the past week, how many phone calls, robocalls, texts, emails, LinkedIn messages you've gotten from other marketers or things like that, asking you for this contract, or we have this amazing program, or here's this high compensation level. Unfortunately, sometimes that's ruined the reputation of what a marketing consultant really can do. On the other end, like I said, non-transparency in regards to how distribution works. I mean, to give a perfect example, World Financial Group agents and independent agents. There's a huge knowledge gap a lot of times about with a lot of agents in network marketing and things like that. I'm using, they're not all bad. I'm just using them as an example, that the idea of how the distribution works and how carriers price their commissions and things like that, that's not knowledge that most network marketing agents know. It's because there's a lot of non-transparency on that top end. As for the other one, most agents have experienced unethical behavior from uplines at some time. So and we work with a place that just came on board, an agency that, of course, the last organization that they were with took like 10 of their agents out of their hierarchy. And in my personal experience, I was one of my upline managers was caught with fraud and was terminated with cause. And unfortunately, it's not the norm, but it's not out of the norm to hear stories like that. So that is definitely a bad fact out there that's happening. And then the fallout rate of marketing consultants is high. So in that W-2 position of marketers coming on board, I mean, you can have 100 marketers come in and probably only like 1 to 2 of them actually make it throughout the year. So this is something that's important to understand as well. And that's why we believe, and what we've seen already is the BDA role as a entrepreneurial position, as a 1099 consultant, has had a lot higher success rate for that. So that's kind of the wholesale distribution model, what that looks like. Now we're into the BDA essential roles and role duties and responsibilities for what it looks like for you. So the idea of this is, having a working knowledge of life insurance and annuities, familiarity with life and annuity carrier illustration softwares, being able to understand other areas of expertise like retirement planning, qualified plans, under 65 health insurance, Medicare. Not that you have to be a master of all these, but really the concept of being a jack of all trades within the BDA space is actually important, because agents are going to ask you different things, and you don't have to be, you're not there to be the master of them, but you're there to know where to find those resources, because there's so much information that's happening and going on. Agents don't often know where to turn. You're help them to sift through all that garbage and get to the gold and what they actually want to accomplish and what they actually need. So staying current with customer needs and strategies, using formal and informal written communication methods, demonstrating a fluency in business processes and process differentiation. So all these things are important roles and responsibilities. Qualifications for this is still having a life insurance license, preferably a health insurance license as well. The ability to understand and learn complex concepts very quickly, attention to detail, and superior time management and verbal communication skills. Also, you have to have active E&O insurance as well. So those are all important. So then, as review income benefits, again, we mentioned the idea that there are many BDAs that are in this space and that work with us that in their first year, they're making over $100,000. But realistic first year income range is really on the low end of a part-time BDA making $20,000 to $85,000 really working that full time. And then of course, making more than that as well. And that's first year. Again, you have book ownership from day one, career portability. You can work from anywhere. We have multiple vertical marketplaces. So life, annuities, health, LTC, disability, ancillary products, Medicare, et cetera, et cetera. And this is non-captive. Like, we're not asking you as a producing agent to move, that we demand all your contracts. That's a conversation. So if this is a role that you want to get into, we have the most efficient path to be able to get into it, into the wholesale industry. So the last part, before we talk about the next step, is just showing a little bit in a basic concept of the money. So all we're showing on here is that one agent, and let me take a step back and say one producing agent equals anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000 in your pocket per year. Now, again, if an agent's not producing, it doesn't matter. That doesn't make any money. But if you're looking at the math, $1 million in production is about $2,500. And for the record, just so that everyone knows, we are under promising these numbers. So these are lower numbers than what the actual number is as a BDA, but we'll deal with specifics in the career overview. But this is giving you a very realistic idea of, if someone's doing X amount of this amount of production, this is how much you're making. So $50,000 in life production translates to $2,500 in your pocket per year. So if you have one agent that does $1 million and $50,000 in life, that makes you about $5,000 per year every time they do that production. One agent who does $500,000 in annuity and $25,000 in life makes you $2,500 per year. Yes, there are other products. I'm dealing with the main ones that have the most spread, which is life and annuities. But we can be talking about Medicare or life insurance, or health insurance and things like that as well. So the reality being is, if you had 100 agents that are selling, they could easily be making you $1,000 per year per agent. 100 agents equals $100,000 income right there. So if some of those agents do more than make you more than 1,000, well, you can see how those numbers really add up. But that's an important slide to understand. That's the income potential that's happening with working with agents and the wholesale side of the industry. So with that said, that gives you a little bit more information about the wholesale side, a little bit about us, a little bit more about the BDA role. Hopefully that was helpful to you in understanding what that looks like. The next step is either one, register for our career overview, or tell us that you're not interested. Like I said, we are not looking for everybody. We are looking for right now 3 people to fulfill the BDA role, to help with our existing book of agents right now, and also to acquire new agents also. But really looking forward to the opportunity to work with you and look into the wholesale space as a business development advisor. Again, the information for the registration for our career overview, which happens this upcoming Wednesday, is all below. So fill out your information, register for it, and we'll see you at the overview. Have a great day.